Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. We are on scenario 4.2 over at the Scorched Obelisk with the character Drelm, where at this location, when you succeed at a check to defeat a Bane by 4 or more, you are dealt 1d4 electricity damage. Okay, that's always a challenging location. Also for this scenario, it's set up like a siege deck. So it's just straight up defeat all the villains and barriers and banes before the adventure closes. But of course, if we get the henchmen, we can close the location sooner. Alright, so advancing the blessings deck. It's a blessing of the elements. And exploring, we get the Ubashti Swarm. So there's a trigger effect, but we did not examine this card. So it's immune to mental and poison traits. We have to defeat each check by 2. That's interesting. So we have to go ahead. Well, I mean, that's not too brutal if we don't. So we just have to make sure. I'm not too worried about this. I'm more worried about that. So we're going to go ahead and use the Natron Fang. This is going to be brutal because we have to do this each time we defeat a check. So what Drelm's going to do, he's just going to do a straight up melee check. His melee is strength plus 4. So I think if I just do a straight up melee check, I'll be fine. So D10, we need 8 for the first one. So roll the 10 plus 4. So 10 and 4, right? Wow. Terrible. So in this, but you know what we got? This is going to be really funny. Because we don't want to take 14. We don't want to take the Scorched Obelisk damage. It says here, on your check after the roll, reveal this card and bury a card. Then remove any number of dice. For each die removed, add or subtract 5. That's pretty cool. So I can make that a 5. I can. How about that? I'm gonna do it. We're using Effigy of Mat, believe it or not. We're gonna bury our elemental mastery spell. We're gonna subtract 5 from that roll. So, we did 5 plus 4 is 9. And now for the next check, so we don't have to deal with Scorched Obelisk. And now we're going to go ahead and roll for the second Ubashti Swarm Combat 8 check. So we rolled a 4 and our melee is 4, so 8. So we made both of those combat checks. We don't have to deal with Scorched Obelisk. But we do have to roll for this effect. We did not exceed the difficulty of each check by at least 2. So we have to succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 7 check or bury a card. Okay, tough call here. So we're going to go, so this is right now, this is an auto fail. I mean, I do have the option of using the Blessed Nethys, but I think I'm just going to choose to auto fail this card, and we're going to bury the Sands of Time spell. Okay, so that kind of hurts. But the Ubashti Swarm is defeated. The Bane is banished. And we will reset our hand. Okay, that was very interesting. Very interesting challenge. Okay, advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients. And back to the Siege deck, we get the Sand Creeper, another trigger. So when you examine, we did not examine this card. Immune to piercing and slashing traits. Before you act, recharge any cards that have the electricity trait. Well, that sucks. I mean, we just got our stained glass elemental. We have to recharge him. No fair. Okay, we're just going to go do a straight up melee check. Drelm does have. He does. So, of course, and what's awesome with the Effigy of Mat, we could basically automatically get a 5. So, melee is plus 4. So, we rolled a 2. Plus 4 is 6, which wasn't enough. So we're going to use Effigy of Mat. We're going to remove that die. We're going to, for each die removed, add or subtract 5. Okay, cool. So we will remove that die. We'll add 5, and our melee is plus 4, so it's a 9. The only downside is we have to bury a card, so we'll bury a Blessing of Nethys. So burying a lot of cards, but thanks to Effigy of Mat, we are getting through this adventure. Alright, we are going to reset our hand. What's nice is that Drelm didn't take any damage. If he takes damage, he has to lose cards from the boon deck. So we are going to now advance the Blessings deck, Blessing of Horus. And we get the Curse of Teeth and Fleas. It's a trigger, curse magic. So we have to do a Wisdom, Survival, or a Divine 10 check. Well, fortunately, Drelm has a Divine of D8 plus 5. So, rolling for that. Wow. 2 plus 5 is... Wow, can you believe that? I can't believe it. So 5, 6, 7. Well, fortunately we have Maga 3 Fingers. We can recharge this card to add 3 to the result. So we're going to do that. So Maga 3 Fingers once again saves the day. Probably one of the best cards in the whole game. And we're going to banish this curse. Alright, well Drelm is just cruising right along. This Scorched Obelisk location, I love it. It's really challenging. We got a Blessing of the Elements. Okay, we get a Corridor Dart Trap. So it's a trap. So Drelm can use, he may use his Divine skill. Because as it is, Dexterity. You know what's interesting? He can choose, like Drelm, I don't think there's anything, he can choose to like do a stealth check. So he can choose to just roll a d4 since he doesn't have stealth. But the difficulty defeat, we're on level 4. So this is a +8 modifier to defeat. So we actually need a 14 in order to defeat this boon or this barrier. So we need 14. I could do a d8 plus 5 and then I could just roll the d4. I wonder if I want to do the 8. So 12. No, I think we'll go ahead and use Drelm's Dexterity. So we're going to do this and we're adding 5 to the roll. Alright, let's see what we got. Doing that, adding 5 to the roll. Alright, so we rolled 8, 9, 10. So 13 and 5 is 18. So 18, we only needed a 14. So we did, unfortunately. I mean, what we can do is, do we want to take the electricity damage? The answer is that we don't. So if we use Effigy of Mat, we could, for each die removed, add or subtract 5. So we can remove that die. I'm pretty sure, I want to see if I'm doing this right. For each die removed, add or subtract 5. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We're going to remove this die. We'll add 5. So we got 5, 10, and our Divine was 5. So 15, 8, 9, 10. And so we're going to get, thanks to this shenanigan, we're going to get a total of 15, and we only needed a 14. So, but we do have to bury a card. We'll go ahead and bury a Blessing of Pharasma. Actually, you know what? We're going to bury the Staff of the... we'll bury the Staff of the Uraeus. We might end up regretting that, but we want to keep our blessing. We haven't used blessings in a while. Resetting the hand. We get the bird feather tokens. Advancing the blessings deck, it's a Blessing of Isis. And we will explore. Okay, Maga Spirit. So before you act, each character at your location is dealt 1 fire damage. Well, that sucks. Don't like that. Once again, there's only 1 card left in the location deck. I'm pretty sure I know what the henchman is. So we will lose the embalming fluid as damage. I don't think it's a mummy. So we do finally take some damage here. So now it's a combat 9. So I can just do a straight up melee check. And if it fails, I can use the Effigy of Mat. Alright, rolling the die. So we rolled 7, my melee is +4, so 11. Okay, cool. So we have totally destroyed the Magma Spirit, and we don't set up the Scorching Obelisk. It's really cool. I imagine we're just like very careful around this whole location. Okay, resetting Drelm's hand, advancing the Blessings deck. Whoa, we get the Curse of Withering. Wow, this is a game changer right here. So while displayed, during your check, when you assemble your dice, replace all of your highest sized dice with the same number of the next to lowest sized dice. Wow. And Drelm, he is a cleric, but he's been going more of like the elemental wizard and more like the effigy, the following of Matt. So he's not really a cleric these days. He's really gotten rid of all of his anti-curse spells. So he's pretty much stuck with this for now. Wow, that really sucks. So we got that. Now we're going to explore. And guess what? Worst timing. We got to deal with this guy. So we got to deal with the Sky Pharaoh Guardian. So Sky Pharaoh Guardian says it's a construct. So it's immune to the mental and poison traits. When you encounter the Sky Pharaoh Guardian, roll 1d6. During this encounter, characters may not play cards of the corresponding type. Wow. Okay, rolling the d6. We rolled a 5. So we cannot play allies. Alright, well that's very fortunate. Drelm has no allies in his hand. Okay, so it's a combat 21. So all we need to do is do a combat 21. Well, see, this is where the effigy of Matt's really going to help out. So our choices are, we can do the Death Grip spell, which is Arcane Divine Skill plus 2d8. We can ignore any non-villain power that happens after you act while there is no. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do Death Grip along with Blessing of Pharasma, one of my favorite combos. So what we're going to be doing with that, normally it's all d8s, right? But since we have the Curse of Withering, we have to roll d6s. That really sucks. So we're going to be rolling 4d6, and we're adding 5 to the roll because our Divine is plus 5. Alright, we'll try it out. Man, that Curse of Withering, brutal. Okay, so here's what we got. We have one of the worst rolls ever. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 5 is 16. So fortunately, we have bird feather tokens in our hand. We can recharge this card to re-roll one die on any check. Alright, we'll start off with that. Dun, da, da. Rolling that 1, we get a 3. Okay, so now we get 5, 10, 13, and 13 and 5 is 18. We needed a 21. Okay, so time to use Effigy of Matt. Fortunately, we have one card left in our hand which we can banish, or bury I should say, so that we can remove that 2 and turn it into a 5. Okay, so now our grand total is 5, 10, 16 plus 4 is 21, and that was 21 on the dot. So we don't set off Scorched Obelisk. Wow. So now, well, that was it. That's actually the final card of the Siege deck. So we don't even have to worry about the when closing effect. Well, I guess technically we do. Constitution, Fortitude 9. But, the way Drelm is, Drelm only has the Constitution of like D6. So kind of going to be shenaniganing that Scorched Obelisk. I mean, I like that location, but for some characters, you can't succeed at that Constitution or Fortitude 9 check. So Siege deck has been blown up. So that means that we have closed the Scorched Obelisk. Maybe we'll just do a Siege deck scenario for each of the Scorched Obelisks for future campaigns. Maybe that'd be cool. Just always do this Scorched Obelisk as a Siege deck, because then it's like, whoa, that is like really cool. I like it. Okay, so here's what was in the Boon deck, right? Mystic Silk Cloak, a Torch, Find Trap spell, and a Blessing of Osiris. Wow, some really good loot there, man. I think I'm actually going to do that. I'm always going to do Scorched Obelisk as a Siege deck. To me, that is really challenging. So, Curse of Withering is gone. Let's go ahead and do a deck check here. So we got a lot of really great boons that we can trade to a trader. So, looking at all of Drelm's weapons, that Effigy of Matt, it's totally broken, but it's totally worth it. And I'm pretty sure I did it all correctly, so feel good about that. Got a lot of good stuff here. the Advocate's Armor, Blessed of Wood Jet, Architect's Armor, Tomb Raider. So the reward for that scenario is we have unlocked this trader, Nahiba. It says Nahiba offers spells that have the divine trait, cost 3 boons. So we'll go ahead and see her. But for this trader, what we're going to do is for this scenario, we are going to go visit the auction house. We're going to see what kind of new ally Drelm can get, even though he really likes his allies. I don't know if he wants to trade them. But I will let you know at the start of the next scenario what Drelm traded and what he found at the auction house, if anything. Alright, well, thanks so much for watching. Really cool scenario. I had a lot of fun. And I will have another adventure up shortly. Alright, thank you.